Hello! I understand you came into my office to better understand how your baby's brain is developing in the womb. You are in luck because I am a real-life doctor here to teach you this information. From almost the moment of conception, your child's brain is already beginning to develop. In the first 1 to 4 weeks of development, the neural plate is already forming. This is a flat disc that will fold over to create a tube. This is the precursor of the brain, and the back end of the neural tube will elongate down into becoming the baby's spinal cord. The neural tube is composed of 3 parts. The front brain is where your baby will process higher information. The midbrain is the neural station between the body and your baby's brain. And the hindbrain is in charge of all of your baby's primal functions, such as breathing. Your baby's brain is forming neurons, which is how the parts of the brain communicate. It sends and receives stimuli to the body and from the body to the brain. Neurons are basically the messengers between the brain and the baby's cells. Your baby is forming 250,000 neurons per minute at this time, and at its peak will contain 100 billion neurons. They are bundled in nerves, which is how your baby's brain will learn to adapt in an ever-changing environment. From the 4th to the 8th week of development, the front brain, or the cortex, and midbrain will move forward towards the front end of the skull, and the hindbrain will start to move down into place above the spine. Your baby's brain will start to develop the 2 unique hemispheres of the cerebral cortex, which are held together by the corpus callosum. The corpus callosum is also how the 2 halves of the brain will neurally communicate with each other as well. The cerebral cortex is where personality is formed, and will also be how your baby thinks and speaks. As we talked about in the Meet Your Master video I emailed to you guys previously. From the 8th week to the 26th week, your baby's cerebral cortex will grow and cover the midbrain and start forming the brain shape you are familiar with. By week 28, the cortex starts expanding to fill the skull cavity, and it also starts to form wrinkles as well. This new tissue is how your baby's brain will perceive the world, how it will make judgments, how it will store its memory, and how it will process speech and sound as well. This step in the developmental process is going to allow your baby to process higher information. This will continue, this growth will continue up until around 40 weeks, right around the same time as your due date. This isn't when the brain stops developing though. After your baby is born, its brain will continue to grow, and it'll reach its peak neural development at about a year of age. Your baby will spend its first few years creating new neural pathways, and its brain will increase 3 times its original size to be just a quarter under the full-grown adult size. In this time, your baby's brain will decide which neural connections, known as synapses, it wants to continue developing and which are no longer necessary for brain function. Spend this time enriching and playing with your baby, and I know that it will grow up to be a fully functioning adult.